Revolutionary greetings, comrades. We have a serious power crisis in Zimbabwe. People are going for 20 hours without electricity. We will not accept the argument by ZANU-PF to blame Robert Mugabe for the power crisis in Zimbabwe. Mugabe represented ZANU-PF. He was head of government and the head of the party for decades. They were defending him, killing in his name. So they cannot turn around and want to isolate him from the collective leadership of ZANU-PF. It is ZANU-PF under the leadership of Mugabe, under the current leadership of Mnangagwa, that has failed us as Zimbabweans. So we cannot accept that they then shift the blame to an individual and act as if from 1980 it was only the Mugabe policies, not those of ZANU-PF. So let's reject any excuse from ZANU-PF to shift the blame to an individual, not to an institution. They have always been saying they're a revolutionary party. What is revolutionary about them? They failed totally. But what does the Zimbabwe Communist Party say about the ongoing power crisis in Zimbabwe? In our program, Completing the Liberation of Zimbabwe, we argue and raise this question that we must develop a plan for Zimbabwe. And this plan in the energy sector must speak to the manner in which we ensure that every household has an access to electricity. So we say in our program, which we have discussed previously in this platform, is that the current coal-fired power stations are performing far below capacity and need refurbishing. This is what is needed in Zimbabwe currently. My throat is having I'm not sure whether it's start of December. It normally does that when it's December. But what we are saying is that the current coal-fired power stations are performing far below capacity and need refurbishment. Making them more efficient can reduce carbon emissions and the use of their smoke to produce protein-rich algae, which may be turned into biofuel or cattle feed, can further reduce carbon emissions. This has been done extensively in Brazil. We have put together a team as the Zimbabwe Communist Party, a team of researchers, to research further on what is happening in Brazil. The team is doing an analysis on the energy crisis in the SADC region, because we are not the only ones in Zimbabwe that are going through energy crisis, electricity crisis. It is almost the entire region, and we need to analyze the entire region and offer solutions for Zimbabwe and for the region. So our team is investigating further, doing a study on Brazil. We are saying as a second point, a gas-fired power station must be built at Lupane using the so far untapped natural gas. The direct use of natural gas for domestic cooking and also for some industrial operations can significantly reduce the demand for electricity. This is what we must invest on or invest in Zimbabwe, building a power station in Lupane. Point number 3 was saying the building of waste-fired power stations as used in Sweden and Austria can not only dispose of domestic waste, but can provide electric power with a lower rate of carbon emissions than coal. Such power stations should be built in Harare and Bulawayo, and the possibility of clearing existing waste dumps investigated. Again, our team that we have put together to expand on what we are saying in our political program is to look specifically into Sweden and Austria. And then point number 4 was saying hydroelectric power plants at Victoria Falls and Kariba Dam needs to be upgraded. We have seen what is happening in Kariba. and we're talking of the Kariba Dam being in danger. We've been seeing recently the low levels of water. We need to refurbish Kariba power station. Point number 6, which is the last point on this one. When we're discussing this last point, the comrades were raising the issue of affordability, saying this might not be affordable. It can be maybe done by in private homes by citizens themselves. But the point we're making is that solar power needs to be massively increased, with factories producing both solar water heating and solar electric panels. In the rural areas, this can be used in conjunction with establishment of wood lots and the use of wood burning stoves to reduce deforestation and the amount of time spent by women on the collection of firewood. Street lighting and traffic lights should be solar powered throughout Zimbabwe, thus reducing the need for men's electric supply. Solar power should be seen as the main form of electricity generation in the future. President Emmerson Mnangagwa says there is a plan to disconnect houses from the grid. But we ask them, where is the plan that will ensure that once you take off houses from the grid, you will have built solar power stations and the residents will not have disruptions in the supply of power? Because you cannot simply rush and disconnect while you are building, as we are getting the reports now. Each household for senior government officials at $14,000 each in their homes, but not building a plant to supply the whole community. Then you wake up in the morning and say you are taking off houses from the grid, electric grid, which we do not think is the right thing to do. So as we're saying that we have put together our team to develop what we adopted at Congress in terms of producing a plan for Zimbabwe to ensure that every household has access to electricity. You remember that after the Russian Revolution, it took them few years to electrify the whole of Russia. Russia is not a small country. The whole of Russia was electrified after the revolution. 42 years after our so-called independence, was still failing to provide electricity, and want to shift the blame to one person who was a leader of an institution which they defended for 37 years, calling themselves a revolutionary party. Then now they think we are stupid, that they then want to isolate the leader. Once Mnangagwa steps down as president, whether it's going to be removed by the military or how he's going to go, they will then be blaming Emmerson Mnangagwa to say, no, the problem is not ZANU-PF. The problem was Emmerson Mnangagwa. And they blame all our problems to an individual. We should not accept, because today they are defending ZANU-PF under the leadership of Emmerson Mnangagwa. They, as a collective, produce, if ever they do, policies in the name of ZANU-PF, as they did under Robert Mugabe. So we should not accept that. But this is what the Zimbabwe Communist Party is contributing in the debate for us to have access to electricity in Zimbabwe. Not this issue of us not having electricity for over 20 hours. Please share your views. We know you have your serious challenges. I was reading some posts on social media, others saying now they have challenges in terms of paying for their DSTV because they do not watch football or watch TV. Electricity will come at 11 p.m. When people are asleep, it goes at 4 a.m. when people are about to wake up. So it's such a crisis. People now have to cook in between those odd hours. They have to do ironing those odd hours. They have to charge their phones in those odd hours. During the day, early evening, there's no electricity. Please share your views on the challenges that you are going through and what you think should be done. Please like this video, circulate, and please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Otherwise, Amandla Comrades.